Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Um, We got a few more folks that were waiting to come on in, so we're just going to give them about a minute to show up, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Todd, I'm gonna they've already met me, Alexis Tharp,
Okay.
guys. I am one of the education specialists with TSEP. We're gonna have Lisa, she's joining us shortly, but Todd is joining us today and presenting our RVR presentation. So Todd, if you want to kind of give them a little bit of background about yourself.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah, my name's Todd. I am on the content team at Sphero. I've been working with Sphero for the this is my fourth year. My background is in the classroom. I was a classroom teacher for 10 years, mostly in upper elementary and middle school. Um, and I don't get to do this every day. I think last time you might have talked to someone named Brad, but I really, really appreciate getting a chance to talk to teachers and to see what questions you all have, and just because I feel like learning more from you all often than you learn from me. So I have some things to talk about today and share with about Rover, but I'm also happy to go on any tangents or answer any questions as they come up. So please feel free to interrupt, come on camera, come off mute, and say, "Hey, talk about this or that," and I'm happy to talk about it.
Thank you so much, Todd. And before I guess technically we are getting started, I say hit my recording, which is what I'm supposed to do. But if you guys, Todd and I were kind of talking about where you felt you were with your rover. So maybe if you want to throw in the chat or just unmute and talk about how you've used it or questions you may have in wanting to use it, anything that you kind of want to help that may lead our discussion or presentation today. Hey, Carrie.
Oh God, I was unmuted. Sorry, you're probably hearing me sneeze and
That's
cough.
okay. I thought you were jumping in to share something with us.
No, I think I accidentally hit it because I was in the middle of sneezing.
That is
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
Yeah.
Um, um, I'm still kind of feeling my way around with them. I've used a lot of the other Sphero products quite a bit with my kids, but I still need to kind of get myself a little more comfortable with this. But I brought it home with me because we've been out for snow for the last 2 days. So brought it home with me and I've been playing around here. So I feel a little bit better than I did a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's
And
great. But one of the things that we were saying is that because it's actually new to us, um, you guys are the first cohort that we've offered them to. So we're kind of really excited about that. And because it's new to us, we thought, well, it's probably a little bit new to you all too. And so I think if we're sort of coming from that standpoint, then maybe that's where we're headed. Todd is, you know,
Yeah,
get
sounds
us
good.
comfortable kind of thing.
Yeah. What grade levels do you all work with?
I'm an elementary school librarian, so I work with K through 5.
Okay, awesome.
You can unmute or throw it in the chat, your choice.
Perfect.
We got
Okay, yeah,
Kalia
this is
K5.
my wheelhouse too, this K5.
Yeah.
Excellent. And if you're all familiar with, I know Brad kind of previously gave a little overview of Rover. I'm not sure if you all were at that one or not, but in my mind, I think if you have experience with our round robots, one thing you'll notice with Rover is it moves accurately. And when you run a program one time and then you run it again, it will move. Uh, the programs will run very consistently. And so, like, what I like about it at that elementary level is like with um, Bolt, it can be challenging to get Bolt to roll from here to there exactly. With Rover, it's less so. And the big thing I'm sure you'll notice is just that we have that roll to distance block as opposed to just the roll to duration block. Um, and I think that's pretty much it's a big game changer. If you do you all have rovers with you? Perfect. Awesome. So what I was going to do today is just share my screen and then share the app and then kind of walk through some programming activities. The ones I picked today are kind of are math focused. But we can shift and pivot based on questions and interests that you all have. Another thing I'd like to say about Rover in comparison to the round ball is we do a lot of engineering design with the round ball, particularly by putting like the solo cup on top of it and then having students decorate or put information on that solo cup and it can kind of drive around, which works and it's fun. But with Rover, like the other thing about Rover is with this flat top, it is a really good base for building on top of, right? So that's another strength, I think, of this robot. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. And you all looking at just a presentation. It says Rover 2. I think this is the second one, but happy to cover even over the basics. So the first things first is I don't know if you all know this, but are you programming on iPads? Are you programming on Chromebooks? What are you all using to program Rover?
Ariana says Chromebooks. It sounds like most of them are Chromebooks.
Okay, this is good. And are you all familiar with our web app that's come out?
Yeses.
Yes. Okay. And if you're using that, I was gonna like transfer over and use the the installed app that looks like the iOS app, but I'll just use the web app today. Okay, so it doesn't look like this. So I'm going to come back over to Sphero EDU. I'm not signed in. For the longest time, signing in to Sphero EDU is almost a requirement, right? Before you can make programs or before you can complete activities. Now signing in is optional. And I kind of tell teachers that don't have students sign in unless they're using it every day, unless they need to come back to programs. Even with being not signed in, I can still download programs and upload programs and go from there. So quickly, I'm just going to create a program. I'm going to call this Kits Rover 2 exclamation point. I'm going to select Sphero Rover, not Bolt. I'm going to hit create. Because what I would like to do today is really highlight how good Rover is at that, like at moving accurately and precisely for certain amounts of distance. So I believe probably last time you did something where you made Rover draw or trace a square. We're going to look at a slightly more advanced way to do this, and then we're going to kind of put the challenge out there to see what you could tweak to make different shapes. So if I come back to Sphero EDU, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit connect. I don't think you're going to be able to see these dialogues, but I will pair to this rover. And it's connected, right? So in the past or last time, I believe you made a square that probably went something like this. I'm using the roll to distance block, which has three inputs. It's got a heading, it's got a speed, it's got a distance. So in this case, I'll make it, oh, that's too big for my space. I'm going to make it a 50 centimeter square. Let's speed 100. I'm going to come in and I like those pauses at the corner, so I'll put a delay for 1 second. And then if I hit duplicate, I can get 4 of these things to make a square that looks somewhat like this. And all I need to do is change the heading. So one time I'm going at 0, next time 90, next time 180, next time 270. So I have those four different headings to make a square. I'm going to hit start, and you're not going to see maybe if I do this. Okay, and I have to turn on enable live sensor data. That's what I wanted. Now I think you'll be able to see the path. Let's see. Right now, this live sensor data is in beta, but it's pretty good. And you can see that square that I'm programming with Rover. And those are the sides that you will not get with our round robot. They're perfectly straight. Each one's exactly 50 centimeters. Rover will report that it has gone exactly 200 centimeters, which is really cool. Okay. Hit stop. So what I want to do this time is I'll put these blocks off to the side for a reference, and we're going to look at a different way to program a square. In this case, it'd be great if you all could pull up the app and follow along, build it yourself, because in a second I'm going to give you some time to play around and see if you can tweak this programming algorithm to make different shapes. So the first block I'm going to choose is in the control section. It's a loop block. And then I can actually, well, I'll drag out new ones. I'm going to go to movements. I want this roll to distance block. And in this case, I want each side to be 50 again. And I'll select my speed at 100. Notice how it says max speed here. This means that Rover is it's not going to start out at speed 100. It kind of accelerates to that. So if I had a shorter distance here of like 20 centimeters, it probably would never get to speed 100 because it's accelerating up to that and then decelerating when it gets close to its final distance. And then I like that delay, so I'll pull out another delay and put 1 second. If I was to hit start now, I would not get a square for a couple reasons. What's one reason I'm not going to get a square?
Because you don't have the degrees for turning.
Yeah, so if I hit start now, I do not, I only have one roll block and it says just 0. So it's just going to go at that heading. So that's one reason. And a second reason, someone else see something wrong? I look up here on this loop. Yeah, it's not looped. And what do you think? How many times, if I want to make a square, how many times should I loop that roll block? 4 times. Perfect. So I'm going to put 4 in there. And if I did this, now we'll go back to Carrie, what you said. It's just going to go forward, 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 forward. It's not going to make those turns. But you can do this pretty easily in Sphero EDU. So I'm going to come down here to operators, and I'm going to get this. Ooh, I have to hit this expand button to get more options. But there's this round block that has an addition sign in the middle. This is a this is the math operator. So I can actually choose different math operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, or something called a mod. I'm going to keep this as an addition. And see how this one's circular? I can drop this circular one into any of these inputs. So I'm going to drop it into the heading input. Now this is good. If I go back to what Carrie said before, though, it's just going to go roll 0 plus 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. So it's going to do forward, 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 forward again, not a square. So I'm going to come over here to sensors. And under the sensors, if I expand it, there's one that's called heading. And heading will return like the current direction your robot is facing. So if I put heading here, it's going to report the direction the robot's facing, which in this case is 90 again, or is 0 again. But at every corner, if I'm in a square, I want to turn 90 degrees. So if I put heading plus 90 right here, and I think it's pointed the right way, let's see what happens when I hit start. And I made another square. So like one thing it's good to talk about in programming is that there's often many ways to create a program that will work. Well, I think a fun exercise is asking kids to compare the program on the right and the program on the left, um, because they both accomplish the same purpose. But uh, but like asking kids, like, what do you think? Which program is better, or which program is more efficient? And what do you think your kids might respond to a question like that? Hey, the one on the left is shorter, right? And in total, it's using 1, 2, 3 blocks plus this one in here. So I'll call it 4. On the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's using half as many blocks. That means it's faster to make, right? For sure. Anything else a student might say? The one on the left, what about if I asked which one would be easier to modify to make a triangle? Because good algorithms are often repeatable, meaning that I can use this way to solve a problem. I could use this solution to a problem. And if I just tweak it a little bit, I could also solve that other problem. And if you look at that one, this one is also pretty easy to modify. So I think after building this program together, oh, Kayla, great response too, though. And this is why the first time we teach students how to make a square, we're definitely using this one because they're using 2 blocks, just roll blocks, roll and delay blocks. But as they develop their programming skills, as they learn new programming commands, then that one on the left becomes a slightly more, I don't know, elegant solution. Because what I like to do is I like to program this together with students. And then after seeing that square, I like them to try and modify the algorithm to make different polygons. So in this case, let's start with the triangle. And if you're all plugged in with your rovers, rather than me talking, I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to experiment with how to change this program to make a triangle, not a square. All right. How's everyone else doing? Think we have an idea about what to do to make a triangle? Or did anyone try it and they tried something first and it didn't work? Because when I used to teach fourth and fifth grade predominantly, and generally speaking, by fifth grade, kids are pretty good by knowing that the internal angles on a triangle are going to be on an equilateral triangle are going to be 60. And so what I see a lot of kids doing is they come in here and they go, okay, loop, I want to change this. It's a triangle. It's got triangles. I know have three sides. And then, oh yeah, my teacher's always talking about this. The angles in a triangle add up to 180. So that's 60. But when they run it, they go, and that's definitely not a triangle. So who can help me out there to how I need to change this now to equal to make a triangle? I'm pretty sure that loop three times, triangles have three sides, so it's got to be that. But what's going on? What do I need to change?
Think you said that that was the key, right, Todd? Is that rather than dividing by three or two, four, we're dividing by three now?
Ah, what's the number you're dividing by three?
360, if we're talking about a
360.
full
Okay.
circle.
Not 180,
Mhm.
360. So I'm going to go with 120 when I do this. Well, that's funny. I have a line there. Maybe that's why this is experimental. But there's my triangle. Okay, so what about if I wanted to make, after they figure out that, then I introduce other shapes. It's a hexagon. It's a shape with 12 sides, but whatever that's called, a dodecahedron. Is that right? A dodecagon. And then eventually you can start to approximate a circle. And this becomes like what's like a very quick little coding exercise uh, as kids start to explore this themselves. So maybe even just like writing up all the polygons up on the board and then seeing which kid can build which one and having them write their name as well as like what they need to change. It's a pretty worthwhile um, activity. So if I even change this, so if I wanted to make a 12-sided equilateral shape, I'm going to make 12 sides. And I know this is good, Alexis. You helped me figure this out. So 360 divided by 12 is going to be 30. Do not want 50 centimeter sides, or this will be way too big for my space. So here, so I'm going to change this to 20 centimeter sides. Let's see what happens. And it's pretty spot on. And what do you think I need to do to for that last challenge and to like basically make a circle? Like what if I looped this? This I really would need a huge space for, but what if I looped this 360 times? What would I, and then each time here, all I'm doing is I'm adding one. And now I'm going to be pretty close to a circle. And I actually think that back to, yeah, perfect. Increase the number to make it smaller increments. And I actually think, you know what, that whole equation about the area of a circle, pi r squared, like one of the mathematical ways to prove that is just to make fill in that circle with closed-sided shapes that you can calculate the area of. And it makes closer and closer to a circle. And then that's how you can that's how I think you can prove out some of those theories and actually come to establish what pi is. So pretty fun stuff. All right, any thoughts when we were going through that? Anything, was that something that would be useful with your students in your classes, in your libraries? Any thoughts about how you might modify that to make it more useful? Cool. Thanks, Monique. Anyone have anything that they would do to change it? You could see one, I kind of glossed over this, but this whole idea about perimeter, like if I went back to this square, and I ran that, what's the perimeter of this shape, right? And then you could see that in the sensor data as well as in as well as in the program, right? 24 times is 80. Cool. Okay, so next from here, I actually had another math thing to show you. I think though, let's pivot though, because this is about the hypotenuse of a triangle more and like calculating that and using rubber to calculate that. So in this case, I think let's pivot away from math and I don't know, have you all done things with the color tiles yet and Rover's color sensor? Okay, cool. Let's go into this. And I'm going to show one cool thing about our new setup. If I go to Sphero Central, did Brad share this? Kind of your place for teachers to go get ideas of what to do with Rover. If I come here to Bolt Rover Plus Mini, I select Lessons, and then I select Rover Plus. I'm actually going to go into the Rover Educator Guide lessons. And then there's this lesson called Color Events. Each lesson comes with the lesson code. In this case, this one is 85837. So if I come back here to and let's say I want to do this lesson with my students. So what I'm going to do is take this lesson code, write it on the board, make it visible to students some way, and then I'm going to go to lessons, and right here, students are going to enter a lesson code, and if I put 85837 and remember it correctly, and I hit submit, it's going to load this lesson. And what this will end up doing is it puts the it puts the instructions right next to the programming canvas. So this gives students something to read and an area to program. I'm going to kind of skip over this to the number 3, the challenge of this activity, and just show you a little bit about how these work. One thing is on the bottom of Rover, there's this color sensor. And the color sensor will read tiles. It'll read colors like this, but it'll also read construction paper, any color. I think, let me just put this on it. We'll listen if I'm sharing my audio. Make sure I'm sharing my audio. Share sound. So now I think I'm sharing my computer sound. I just have my rover sitting on top of a blue. I'll put on a yellow tile. Let's see what happens when I hit start.
Yellow.
So it's reading that. But this very simple program is just reading that color with this total color sensor block. One thing to note is see how this block is kind of octagonal. This input won't fit in those circular inputs, but it will fit in this octagonal input here. So one thing that's fun to do with these color blocks is to make a little maze on the floor. So let me just pick 4 colors. I'm going to see if I can change my camera so you're looking at my floor. My setup is not as elegant as Brad's. Don't tell him. Or actually, maybe tell him so I can get a good setup like him. I'm just going to pick 4 colors. I'll put them on the ground. In a square. And I'm going to come back to this program. I'm going to get rid of these blocks. And I'm going to use a different programming tool here. These are under what we call events. I'll just collapse this for a second. And for Rover, there's a particular event called on color. So right now it says on color white. When I click this button, I could set the color that's in this block. Oh, that's cool, Alexis. Oh, I'm getting some other questions. I think the Indy tiles would work. We should try it. One thing is, I will caution, if you're familiar with Indy, we built Indy after we built Rover, and I think we learned some things about color sensors building Rover. So the color sensing in Indy is better than with Rover. So Rover will make mistakes. So like Alexis, I'm not surprised that it reads blue as cyan. Okay, so I've clicked on this square in the odd and color event, and now it wants me to set this color. So you can see if I put it over my hand, it's reading my hand as pink. That's interesting. I'm going to put it over the yellow, my first color. And when I put it over the yellow, you can see that yellow is right there. I'm going to hit set. Oops, that's weird. I have to hit set color here. And then when I check out of it, now I have this on color yellow block. When Rover is on yellow, this is what the program will do what I've said here. So let's say I have my rover right on yellow. It's pointed at blue. So all I'm going to do here is super simple. I'm just going to make another square. I'm going to just use a speed block. If it's on yellow, all I want to do is start going. I'm going to have it go slow so I can catch it. So when I hit start now, watch what happens. It just goes. It went right over the blue because I don't know. What do you think I need to do on that blue tile if I wanted to turn right? So I have it on that blue tile now. I'm going to go get an on event block. Select this button. Now you can see there's blue there. I'm going to set the color. So now I have a totally different on color event block. Now I have the on color blue block. And if I want to turn right, I go back to my movements section. and I change my heading to 90. Now the speed is still going, so I don't think there's anything I need to do here. I don't think I need to I don't think I need to turn the speed on again. Okay, let's see. I hit start. Perfect. One thing you'll notice that these tiles aren't as good as Indy 4, as you can see it twisted it. These are just paper. So they're not that silicon tile that will stick. So you might want to use like some blue tape or blue tack to stick it down. And I can finish this off by grabbing another event. That's purple.
Brad, when you clicked on your color, how did you
Mhm.
change the color
How did I change it?
in your with your
So
colors?
I'm here and I'll put this on red, let's say. So Rover, the color sensor on Rover is sending this to the screen, and I just need to hit set color.
It's the rover that's picking it.
The
Thank you.
Rover's picking,
Okay,
yeah, so this is just the color on Rover. Let's see if I
gotcha.
put this on a white wall, it's kind of whitish. If I put this on, I don't know, I have a green lamp, it should be kind of greenish. Yeah. So
Got it.
that's what's nice, and that's what's kind of so you can a fun activity for kids that are familiar with Indy is to program their rover to act like Indy by uh, setting on color events for all the rover tiles. All right, but there's my purple. One
Can
thing
I,
you'll notice is, like I said before, there's many ways to do things. So instead of using this heading block here, I'm actually going to use my spin block. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to spin my rover 90 degrees.
can
Hold
I
on
ask a
a second.
question?
Yep.
This might be dumb, but why do you not have to connect all of the blocks? Why is the blue block not connected to the yellow block to the like
No,
again
this is
other
not dumb. This is a great question. Okay, so here is the reason. So you see um, these blocks that snap to other blocks have this little notch on top, and this means they can snap to a block that has a notch on the bottom. See, these ones do not have that notch, so I cannot snap to them.
okay.
And this is one that actually makes a little bit more sense in JavaScript. So let's look at this in JavaScript. If I come over to JavaScript, this is the main function. This is the one that start program. And all that's happening here, I haven't even put any blocks there, but it's listening for colors, which is a weird word. It's actually looking for colors. And then these blocks here are what we call functions, and they're totally separate. So these blocks are like separate mini programs within this program. And these programs will only run when this condition is met. So when Rover sees yellow, it'll run this program. When Rover sees blue, it'll run this program or function. So these are like it's a function, which is kind of like a mini program inside of the larger program. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'm also on a ton of cold medicine, so I think that that is helping.
Okay, good. No, that's a great
Sorry.
question. It's
I
weird
am
too,
not at
like
my best right now, but that does make sense. Thank you.
it's weird too because it's one of those things that makes more sense when you look at it in JavaScript because you can
I
see.
guess with all the block coding that I've done with, I mean, because I work with elementary, so I haven't done some of the really high level stuff. Like everything always has to be connected. So that was something I haven't encountered much before. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm thinking about some of those other ones, like if you've used a microbit before. like they have that on button
Yeah.
A or on button B. Those are the same as this, that they
Okay.
will exist off to the side.
Okay.
And we have other events like this. For Rover, the big one is on color, but there's also on message received. Like I can send a message from one rover to the other. And when that other message rover receives that message, that's when it'll run these blocks. So I like to think of these as like almost like triggers, cause and effect. If this condition's met, then this will happen. And the big one for the round robots is like that on collision. So if I shake bolt, something will happen. These are also events. Okay, so I am getting around. Let's see. I'm doing spitting them out. And now, what do you think I should add for the on red? What do we want to do there? I could either keep going around in a square, or I could just go here and let's just stop this thing. Just gonna hit stop. Um, so that's kind of how the color sensor works, but I don't think that's a particularly fun activity or creative ways to use it. So like, let's put on our teacher hats and like, what could you do with the color sensor to make kind of a fun activity for kids? Back to my face. Like, um, I'm in Oregon, in fourth grade. One of my favorite units to teach was the Oregon Trail, and kids would load up um, covered wagons, choose what to put in them, and then they would map out their journey on the Oregon Trail. That with the color sensor and the ability to build on top of rover makes a pretty fun activity, right? You're building your wagon, you're putting your flour, your chickens, your family suitcase or whatever in there, and then you're going on the trail.
I've done an activity with Indy where like maybe I have a story or like not too long ago we were learning about different important or influential people in African American history from Virginia, and they had four pictures. And so Indy they had to stop by and visit each person, but it couldn't go in a straight line, so they had to come up with their own path. So I was thinking, like with the color sensors, you could kind of do something like that and have the person's picture by the color, and like they would have to like create a path with the colors for them to like stop by, those different pictures based on like maybe whatever story you're reading or what they're learning about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the I like that like the retelling a story or to showcase what they're learning other things through programming with Indie or Rover. And you think about that too with like might be good to do one story with Indie because then they get this whole idea about colors and how Indie moves. And then maybe when they're ready for a little bit more, you introduce Rover, which then puts a little bit more of the challenge on them to actually program what those colors mean. Um, that's a cool idea. Hmm. Um, right now I have my colors in just a simple square. Um, but it's a pretty good challenge, I think, to put like if and it's a shorter challenge too, like have kids use the color tiles to make their initials. What's particularly nice about that is you can't really see it at all with the tiles on the ground, but then the minute they hit start and they can see their path on the app, then all of a sudden they can see their initials. Any other ideas, comments, questions? If not, we can move on. Those are the kind of the two big activities I had planned today. But if any of you had questions about what other blocks mean or wondering how things work on Rover, feel free to ask away. Yeah, Carrie, that's the way it works. So, Alexis, I don't know, like, how do you have these booked with Brad?
So this is actually our final one that we've got scheduled, but what
Okay.
the plan is that we are going to sort of send out a survey. Well, one, we'll send out our Qualtrics survey just to get a feel for how you all think this helped, but we're going to send out a survey to see if we've got folks who might be willing to come back and share some of the things that they've tried in the classroom. So giving them some time, hopefully not scheduling during a time where everybody is super busy, but then allowing them to come back and bring some of those ideas as a group. And so you guys would still facilitate for us, but they would really be the stars and sharing their experiences. So
That's awesome.
that's the plan. That's the fingers crossed.
That's the way to do it. I mean, use us as a
Yeah.
resource for like, because we can show you some things, but it's always more useful when it's like, when it's based in what you're interested in doing in the classroom. So there's my email in the chat. Um, and like I said at the beginning, I love hearing from teachers. I love hearing what questions you have. And I love figuring out how I can help support you. So email away, and I'm excited to see what people think of.
Kalia
Alexis,
says
would it be okay?
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was like, Kalia says she's trying to figure out how to make a kind of clue or candy land.
Oh,
She said it's been a while since she's played and she's trying to get an idea of the past, but that's something. That would be something. If you figure that out, Kalia, that would be great to come back and share. That would be amazing.
I gotta look up an image of Candyland about this. It is
Oh
color-based, isn't
yeah.
it? Look at that. Okay. That would be a lot of fun. It would have to be simple. Um, by simple, I mean, I don't think you could do the curves.
Mhm.
Uh,
I could see that would be fun to play and figure out.
yeah.
How many of you have sort of a combination between an indie and bolt already? So you got your rover, but maybe you already had a bolt and indie, then you've sort of been putting them together. I don't think I'm seeing anything in the chat. I think that was Carrie that asked about the indie tiles.
Yep. With Clue,
Hmm.
the just the layout of Clue with squares next to each other being at right angles, this lends itself more to Rover. What I think would be fun is you can build just on the top of Rover, just a little bulldozer type of mechanism with cardboard possibly and zip ties, and then have Rover move, I don't know, the candlestick and the Clue character from one room to another room. So get the candlestick from the library to I'm forgetting the rooms in Clue, but to the kitchen or whatever, that would be a fun challenge. Or have Rover go to each of the rooms, kind of a modified clue board to see if the object is in the room, and if it's in the room, play an alarm sound or something.
We
That's a
did
fun
sort of a
thing to
rock,
run.
paper, scissors with our bolt the other day.
Uh-huh.
We not sort of we played rock, paper, scissors with the bolt. Can we um sort of program once it goes over a certain color to sort of roll a candlestick or a pipe, and then students would have to do something from whatever clue that they rolled.
Yeah. That's kind of a fun, this is a fun little programming tangent. So if I want something random to happen when it hits yellow, you actually have to create a variable. I'm going to create a variable called random number. Random num. It's a number variable. And then so once it lands on yellow, I'm going to set that random number to a value. And I don't want it from 0. I don't want it to always be set to 0. So I need to pick a random number. So it's going to be from 0 to, let's say, 3. Move these other ones out of the way. So when I run this now, it's just going to set that random number to 1, 2, or 3. Then down here, I'm going to go to controls. This is a little bit more advanced of a programming concept. But if this is true, then I'm going to do these blocks. Well, what's true or what's not true? If random number is equal to 1, then I want to do this, whatever's in here. And here's where Alexis, I could put in, I can play the alert sound. And if, I'm going to just duplicate these. If my random number is equal to 2, I'll play, let me see another. Sound. Okay, so this is like, I don't know what's going to happen. I've got a yellow tile here. I'm going to start this program. And when I put it on the yellow tile, I have another number in there. Oh, there it is. So I played that sound again. So that's how you would do that. Oh, I'm in this room. Which one am I going to get? Yeah, that's a fun. Yeah, a little bit more advanced of a thing, but like once you have this way of generating random outcomes, that opens up a whole nother realm of possibilities. Yeah, Carrie, that's a good deal. Having the whole assortment, Bolt, Rovers, and Minis and Indies, that gives you lots of options. And also, like, we've seen things where you do them together, like the Rover has to transports the bolts from A to B, and then something has to happen at B with the bolts getting off. Those types of things are fun. Well, cool. Any other questions? Alexis, if you wouldn't, I know you said you had a survey, but I just
Yeah,
have like a 2 question. I promise I'll take each
sure.
person
No, you take
less
it.
than 30 seconds. Just feedback on me and what I can do better.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I'll put that in the chat.
Did you guys have any questions for Lisa or myself? Lisa, did you want to say a few words?
Well, I'm sorry I'm late. That's number one. I shoveled a lot of snow today, so that was exciting. And I was busy trying to calculate the angles. I got excited about the pentagram, but then we just kind of went through that. So not really. I mean, it sounded like you guys had lots of your own really good ideas and definitely already had some experience with with the rovers. So that was exciting to know. And that libraries are well stocked. So
But yeah,
that's
I know that's
not always the case.
amazing.
Yeah, so not always the case. So all
Yeah,
good
Carrie.
things.
I love that, Carrie. That is amazing. Now, how many of you are currently in snow or uh, experiencing snow now? I know we are. We have been closed down for tomorrow will be our third day.
Wow.
Now, snowbound or
Yeah.
Todd, where are you?
I'm in Oregon, so all I have is rain.
Gotcha. Said Richmond, yeah. And only a 2 hour delay? Was that for today or was that for yesterday, Ariana? For tomorrow.
We've been out the last 2 days here in Richmond, so we have to go back tomorrow.
You are going okay, so you are going back tomorrow. I want to say here in I know that ODU has closed for Friday, so we got a feeling that most of the schools in the area are probably closing as well. So, but so 2 days and now a delay. They said get back to work. Get back to
And we were off on Monday for a wellness day too, so it's been a very
Oh my
Like Carrie, it sounds like you needed the break.
yeah. You guys have had a really interesting week. All right, going King George, and looks like you guys are heading back tomorrow. Okay. Got it. I think here we got the melt happening, but then as soon as the temperatures drop overnight, the roads freeze. So we got that. Well, we want to say thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm going to throw in the chat. Todd has already shared his survey, but I'm going to throw in the chat for you the link for our Qualtrics survey. We did record, yay. And so hopefully by next week, we will have all of the videos posted on our YouTube channel and we'll send out an email letting you know what the link is to that. So anything that you couldn't remember that you did, you're like, oh, what was that one step? It's already been recorded, so we've got everything that Todd said forever.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You guys have got Todd's email. If you have any questions, you guys know you can always email Lisa or myself if you have questions. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. Oh, you're very welcome, Carrie. Thank you, Ariana. You're very welcome. Thanks, Monique.
All right. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Thank you.
We'll be in
All right.
touch.
I'm going to go ahead and close out. Dawn and Kalia, if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. We'll see you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Stay warm.